Good afternoon to everyone in attendance here. Thank you very much for taking time from your schedules to join us. This is Joe Culver, the current Executive Director of the New York MBA, and on behalf of our President, Jeff Pinard, our entire Board of Directors, and most importantly, our Affordable Friday chairs, both Sherry Eccles and Brian Garris. We thank you for joining today's webinar with our partners here at Freddie Mac, who are going to be providing some absolutely wonderful information that they're going to be covering here over the next 50 plus minutes. As always, before we get started, we like to make sure we share our quick housekeeping notes to everyone. First, if you are experiencing any technical difficulties, we ask that you use the chat box function at the bottom of your screen to notify us of that. During today's webinar, we do keep all lines muted except of those of our presenters here from the team from Freddie Mac. There's going to be an opportunity to ask questions, and certainly during the course of their updates, you can certainly type in questions into the chat box. We will get to those as we kind of move through the process here. And then before we end the session, after they complete their updates, we certainly will answer and put those questions forth to the team from Freddie as well. We'll also be sharing these presentation slides and any of the relevant resources with you once we conclude the overall webinar itself. We also urge all those in attendance here, right? If you have not taken the opportunity to do so, we certainly would like you to join the National MBA's what's called the Mortgage Action Alliance, or MA, as they refer to it. It's easy, it's free, and it's certainly a way to stay informed on all the legislative issues that impact our industry. Again, not just here in New York, but nationally as well, because we know a lot of you that attend are members of companies that may have a nationwide presence as well. So at that point, we are ready now to turn it over to our distinguished guest from Freddie Mac for today's webinar. And I know, Jim, you're going to kick everything off here. So if you would mind just introducing yourself and then jump right into your presentation. Thank you.
Yes, well, thank you for inviting us back. We really appreciate the opportunity to speak to your members in the audience today. And hi, everyone. I'm Jim Hall, Affordable Lending Manager here at Freddie Mac. And just a brief bio on myself. I've been with Freddie Mac for it'll be 6 years in April. Prior to that, I worked for New Jersey Housing for 12 years. I ran their single-family program at the Housing Finance Agency in Trenton. And prior to that, I had 20 years on the private lending side. So I'm dating myself, I know. I've been around in the industry since 1986, but it's been a great ride, and really, enjoy the working in the affordable side. My job has multiple hats. I assist the Freddie Mac Northeast Pod team with their lender relationships, and the Northeast Pod is Northern New Jersey up to Maine. I also interface with housing finance agencies on the East Coast from Maine down to Florida. And I also partner with realtor associations on the East Coast also. And what I do, I promote our affordable lending programs, our 3% down program. So today I will talk about Home Possible and Home One with you. Okay, so let's talk about Home Possible first. Okay, it's our marquee affordable program. It's capped at 80% area median income, and what it does for you as a lender and banker, it gives you a product that's competitively priced. It will set you apart from the competition in your area if they are not offering this type of program. Since it's 80% and below area median income, we're allowed to offer charter level mortgage insurance on this. So, and I'll go over that in a few more slides, where we're able to reduce the mortgage insurance, which reduces the customer's monthly payment, for their mortgage insurance. So this can set you, again, differentiate you from your, competition down the street because you have this program. It also helps you meet your CRA goals. And, all these loans have to be underwritten through our automated underwriting system loan product advisor. LPA is the acronym out there in the housing industry. And if you've been around as long as I have, it used to be called loan prospector or an LP. I still call it LP, so we won't hold that against you if you still call it LP. So next slide, please. And this is just a detail sheet of the highlights on Home Possible. For 1-unit properties, it's a 3% down program, 97% loan to value. We allow affordable seconds to be put behind the first mortgage up to 105% total loan to value. And the program is also open to 2 to 4 unit properties. Now, on 2 to 4 unit properties, 5% down is required, and that's a 95% loan to value. But the total loan to value is still 105%. So we allow for that affordable second to be put behind the first on 2 to 4 units, and that's for fixed rate mortgages. There are options for adjustable rates. It's available for purchase money and no cash out refis. The property types are 1 to 4 unit, detached and attached properties. PUDs are also available, co-ops, condos, and manufactured homes. As far as the occupancy requirements, it has to be owner occupied, primary residence. But in Home Possible, we do allow for non-occupying co-borrowers on 1-unit properties. As far as mortgage insurance, lender paid single premium MI is an option, and finance single premium MI is also allowed. Next slide. If you're not familiar with our area median income and property eligibility tool, please check this out after this webinar, because this will really help you, even prior to submitting the loan into LPA. This will give you an idea, where your customer falls, within the area median income percentages. And we enhance the percentages for you to see, where your client does fall. So in the bottom right-hand corner of the slide here is the example of, how it will look once you put the subject property in there. Now, in this example, that address is Freddie Mac's headquarters down in McLean, Virginia, and it's based on census tract information. So it's going to give you the county that the subject property is in, the FIPS code, and then the area median income broken down by 50%, 80%, 100%, 120%, and 140%. So you'll have an idea if you're going to be able to fall into the Home Possible area median income requirements, and also if the income is very low and it's 50% or below, you'll know if you're eligible for the $2,500 incentive that Jim Clement is going to discuss later in this webinar. It also will tell you if it's in a high needs rural tract, and rural tract and a high cost area. Next slide. Okay, I mentioned we were able to reduce the mortgage insurance on Home Possible.
Careful.
I'm sorry?
Bananas.
Can somebody mute their line, please? Okay, thank you. We were able to reduce the mortgage insurance to 25% coverage on Home Possible. Now, standard MI coverage when there's 3 to 5% down is 35%. So your customer will realize a savings, on their monthly income portion. So that is a nice advantage when presenting this, program to the consumer. You'll have a selling point that they are going to get, a reduction in their mortgage insurance cost. Next slide. Okay. And this is a nice side-by-side to see, why you would offer Home Possible over an FHA loan to your customer. On the FHA loans, the mortgage insurance on most FHA loans is perpetual, stays on for the life of the loan, which is very costly for the consumer. On our conventional Home Possible loans, the mortgage insurance can sunset when the loan to value reaches 80% and below. So again, that's another great selling point, for the consumer, that they're not going to be locked into that MI for life of the loan. And then also on FHA loans, they have what I call the belly buster, which is the upfront premium which is thousands of dollars and quite costly. And we know, especially in the lower to moderate income customer range, they don't have a lot of liquidity, a lot of cash assets. So, you know, that upfront premium gets rolled into the FHA loan again, and it's quite costly for the consumer. And we don't have that on Home Possible. So, you know, when you're doing a side by side and you do the math as far as, you know, cost of insurance, it is quite staggering what you save the consumer, you know, on Home Possible. Next slide. And this is one of my favorite slides here because on Home Possible, as you see the second bullet point, we have a credit fee waiver. So there's no credit fees or loan level price adjustments on Home Possible. So that's fantastic. It's one size fits all. Your consumer, you know, doesn't get those costs passed down for them. And again, it's another, you know, benefit for them to go, you know, through a Home Possible loan, which will save, you know, your client money. Next slide. And this is for you. This is a resource page that Freddie Mac provides for Home Possible. It has, you know, all kinds of pertinent information regarding, you know, for the product details, all the tools that you can use for Home Possible. There's links on there for that. And again, it's just a nice resource for you to bookmark. And if you need some quick information, you know, hopefully you'll be able to find it, you know, within our website on this page. And if not, if you can't find what you're looking for, you know, you can always, you know, contact us and reach out. Next slide. All right. Now let's talk about Home One. Now, Home One, in my opinion, is, you know, probably the most underutilized mortgage product that Freddie Mac has. And, you know, if, you know, I used to be a loan originator a long time ago, and, you know, nobody likes to, you know, lose a loan. So if I'm working up a Home Possible loan, and like I said, it's maxed at 80% area median income, and some new income comes into the equation and bumps me over that 80% threshold, but I still need 3% down. I need that 97% loan to value. I can't go standard at 95. Home One can be that catch-all for you and save a loan for you, because this is also a 3% down program. Now, it's not an exact replica of Home Possible. There are some differences, and this screen here on this slide will show you some of the differences. At least one of the borrowers must be a first-time home buyer, and that's a difference between Home Possible. Also, this is only eligible for 1-unit primary residences and excludes manufactured homes. If you recall, Home Possible does allow for 2 to 4 units and manufactured homes. Also on Home One, all borrowers must occupy as their primary residence. So the non-occupying borrower is excluded from this program. And also, this is for fixed rate only, where you do have the option to use ARMs on Home Possible. Next slide. And again, this is a nice detail sheet for you that just really reiterates a lot of the items that I just mentioned. Again, it's 97% loan to value. Affordable seconds are allowed to go behind that first, up to 105% loan to value. Next slide. And I didn't put this slide in as a mistake. You saw it before, but I wanted to, you know, make an impact here. Now, if you look at the first bullet point, on Home one of the borrowers must be a first-time home buyer. So that makes a Home One customer eligible for our credit fee waiver, where the area median income is 80% up to 100%. Again, another great advantage for you as a loan originator and banker to offer, you know, to your consumer, because they won't have to pay for those loan level price adjustments, you know, or credit fees up to 100% AMI. So again, if you didn't know that, please share this information with your colleagues. Next slide, please. And I always love this slide here when we asked our marketing folks to, you know, do a side-by-side for Home Possible and Home One, because you know, if I want a quick reference point, this really breaks down the differences, with the program. So again, another great informational tool for you to have and also to share with your colleagues. Next slide. And my final slide here, I just want to promote our 1-800-FREDDIE line. This is another fantastic tool for our business partners to use. You can use this for multiple reasons. Let's just say, for instance, you have an underwriting question on Home Possible. You could call 1-800-FREDDIE. Choose the first prompt, number 1, if you're a Freddie Mac seller servicer. Then you would choose the second prompt, number 2, for underwriting guidelines, and then go in with the final prompt there, number 1, and will get you to a Home Possible subject matter expert underwriter, Freddie Mac, that can discuss a findings with you or a scenario. So again, this is just, shows you, the power of Freddie Mac, and, where customer service driven, and hopefully, if you're not utilizing the 1-800-FREDDIE line, please do. And it's also open if you ever have issues with Loan Product Advisor. Again, you would call in, hit the prompt 1, go into Loan Advisor Tools and prompt 3, and then you have your your choices of whatever the issue that you may be having with Loan Product Advisor. So with that, I would like to thank you for tuning in today. If you're new to Home Possible and Home One, hopefully this information was valuable to you. And if you're familiar with those products, hopefully it was a nice refresher. And now I'll turn it over to my colleague, Jim Clement, to discuss his portion. It's all yours, Jim.
Thank you, Jim. Much appreciated. So I'm Jim Clement. I am a senior manager in our seller strategy and optimization group. So primarily I work with our housing finance agencies across the country, supporting them from a technology and operational perspective, as well as helping lenders implement, integrate, and optimize the use of our different affordable products. So what I'm going to walk through today is how to use a great new benefit that's available to your borrowers who are eligible for it, the Home Possible VLIP credit eligibility. And if you could actually just go back one slide, Lori, real quick, I just want to point something out. So when you get a copy of these slides, you see in that green box there's a hyperlink, how to use the Freddie Mac tools for the Home Possible VLIP credit. All of the slides that I'm about to go through, the screenshots are directly from that job aid. So I highly recommend, going to that page, pulling up that job aid, bookmarking it somewhere. So that way, if you have to refer back to it at any point when talking with a customer, or you forgot something that I covered, it's there for you to utilize. So just wanted to point that out. So go ahead, Lori. So our Home Possible VLIP credit, right? So we did everyone a favor and putting 3 of the important eligibility criteria right there in the name. So number 1, it has to be a Home Possible mortgage. So just because your borrower is less than or equal to 50% of the area median income doesn't mean they automatically qualify for this. It also has to be a Home Possible mortgage. So it's really important to submit your loans and deliver your loans as a Home Possible. The second piece is VLIP, right? So what's that stand for? Very low income purchase. So those are borrowers who are less than or equal to 50% of their area median income, right? So for the AMI for that particular property. And the third piece is it's a purchase. It has to be a purchase, not eligible for refis. So very low income purchase, Home Possible, 3 main criteria. And then the last one is really important. The full amount of that credit of $2,500 must be applied or given to the borrower at closing. So it has to be at closing. It can be a credit towards the down payment, closing costs, or a bit of both. If you want to split it between the two, that's perfectly fine too. The requirement though, real important, they must receive the full $2,500 at closing. And again, this is effective for mortgages delivered to Freddie Mac on or after March 1st, 2024 until February 28th, 2025. So take advantage of it while it's available. Go ahead, next slide, Lori. So first thing, right? As I said, it must be a home possible mortgage. So in order for a loan product advisor to assess that loan as a home possible mortgage, you must submit it with the home possible loan program identifier. It's really important that you do so. Otherwise, all those great features and benefits that Jim talked about, in addition to the $2,500 credit, will not be available to your borrowers unless you're submitting that loan as a home possible. Because if it's not submitted to loan product advisor as a home possible mortgage, then it's not eligible for delivery as a home possible mortgage to Freddie Mac. And again, your borrower would not be able to take advantage of those features and benefits, and or you could potentially have some issues with delivery if it's not submitted to loan product advisor as home possible. So really important to get that right the first time. And I'll show you on the next slide how you can validate and verify that you did it right. So at the top of that screenshot, you'll see in a green box, the loan was assessed for home possible eligibility and it meets income limits. So in version 5.3, which is our most recent version of LPA, that banner message will appear if you submitted your loan to Loan Product Advisor as a home possible mortgage and it is eligible based on the income limits submitted. Real easy to identify right at the top of the feedback certificate. You can check it. That tells you that you submitted it as home possible and it's eligible. If you're not on LPA 5.3, that's okay too, because we also put the loan program identifier, which you see in that box kind of on the middle to the left of the screen, where you see program identifiers. You see it reflective as home possible. That's in version 5.2 and 5.3. You can check it there. That just tells you you were successful in submitting your loan as a home possible mortgage to Loan Product Advisor. We put the area median income at the top of the feedback certificate, again for 5.3 and above. We show the area median income for the address submitted, and this works in pre-quals too. So you don't have to have the specific street address. As long as you have the city and the state, the area median income will populate, and then that calculated area median income percentage based on your qualifying income submitted to Loan Product Advisor. And then as an added benefit to help make it as easy as possible for you to identify these opportunities, we actually fire a message that is specific to borrowers who meet that very low income purchase or VLIP criteria. You see it at the bottom of the screen, FAL 0003, which basically tells you the income you submitted, the area median income for the property, and then that it meets the housing goal qualifications for a very low income purchase VLIP loan. So if you're a loan officer, underwriter, processor, you want to know, does my borrower qualify? You know, you can look at a number of different things on the screen, check the home possible program identifier, and then look for that message FAL 0003 in our affordable lending and access to credit message section. That'll tell you that they are eligible and their income meets the VLIP qualifications. Next one, Lori. All right, so the 2,500, you've identified that your borrower is eligible. How do you submit that amount to LPA, right? So you're going to put it in as an asset. That asset is going to be a grant. The grant is going to come from a federal agency, and the dollar amount of that grant is going to be $2,500. The included asset indicator is false, as that will prevent it from being double dipped when you apply it as a credit to the borrower, at closing. There are a couple feedback messages where you can validate and verify that information. You see FAR 0013, that lists all the assets that were submitted to LPA on the loan. And you see there the grant not deposited of $2,500. Additionally, when you submit a loan to LPA with a grant from a federal agency, you will get message FAR 0198, which indicates a grant was submitted in the amount of $2,500, as you can see there on the screen, from an agency. And typically you would have to document where or what that agency is providing the money and that it meets eligibility. For the purposes of this home possible VLIP credit, you do not have to submit any documentation to verify where the money is coming from. We know you're getting it from the VLIP credit based on how you're going to deliver that loan. So you don't have to provide documentation. So we don't need you cutting or putting the bulletin in your loan file. It's perfectly fine. We know where it's coming from. Again, though, the main criteria is that you must provide that credit to the borrower at closing. That's really, really important. So go ahead, Lori. So loan closing advisor submission. So for any closers on the line, and then also I will say for if we have a lot of loan officers on the line, if they feel any of their coworkers like closers, shippers, secondary marketing folks could potentially benefit from this information, feel free to share that job aid that I showed you in the beginning of the presentation with all of your coworkers, because again, it covers the origination, the loan LPA submission, loan closing advisor, and I'll get to loan selling as well. So it's the full gamut. Share it with your coworkers, whoever you feel would benefit. So from a loan closing advisor submission perspective, it is a closing adjustment types of grant. The amount's $2,500, and then the full name or the legal entity providing it would be the lender who's originating the loan. So real important there. Again, that's coming from the lender, the $2,500. Next slide. All right, delivery. Couple key points here. The loan program identifier, just like loan product advisor, must be home possible mortgage and loan selling advisor. This is one of the triggers that will allow you to be reimbursed that $2,500 at delivery. So you providing it to the borrower at closing, and then we're reimbursing it to you when you deliver the loan to us. The other important piece there is there is an investor feature identifier or IFI code required, which is K10. So the presence of those two values when you submit or deliver that loan to loan selling advisor is going to be the trigger for our system to then reimburse you of that $2,500. So it's important that you have both. Don't just get one or the other or neither. You need both of them if you provided that loan, and it's eligible, obviously, for the $2,500 credit that you gave to the borrower at closing. And we give you a little screenshot of what LSA the fields look like in case you needed that as well. Next slide. So as stated earlier, right, you can give it to them as a credit towards down payment, credit towards closing costs, or you can split it between the two. However, depending on how you've allocated or distributed those funds to the borrower, you can enter the information accordingly in Loan Selling Advisor. So the top piece illustrates how you would submit it if you gave it to them as a down payment credit, the bottom part as a credit towards closing costs. Again, I put in $2,500 there for each, but if you split it, obviously the total of those two amounts should equal $2,500. Next, Lori. And with any home possible mortgage delivery to Freddie Mac, it is an affordable loan. So the affordable loan indicator must be true. So it's really important to include this as true. The other value would be false. So if you try to deliver a home possible mortgage with a affordable loan indicator as false, you will get a critical edit and not be able to deliver a loan to Freddie Mac. So again, just important from a data entry and submission perspective, get it all right, and then you don't have to have too much rework on after the fact. So again, hopefully this information was beneficial to everyone. Again, just a last reminder, check out that job aid. All these screenshots are in there. It's a really great tool to utilize and will help, probably answer, 85 to 90% of your questions as you go through and utilize this. And hopefully you can give it to as many borrowers as possible to help them get into their homes. So with that, I will turn it over to Rich Power.
Thanks, Jim. Appreciate it. I'm Rich Power. I'm a senior manager in our Northeast pod, supporting the Northeast region. And I face off against our technology implementations with the Northeast region. I'm going to talk to you today about what I think is one of the best reports out there, and definitely most useful for what we're talking about with Home Possible. And I'm going to set up how to get to the screen that we're on. So if you've never used ECO, which is our self-serve reporting, you can find that out on freddiemac.com and just search up ECO. One little tidbit is when you're working to access ECO, you have to click on the menu at the top of the screen, and then you'll see login there. The login doesn't just appear where it's clear to see. So I want to call that out. When you, if you don't have access to ECO already, your Access Manager administrator for you all it can provide you that access. And if there's any questions on it, just reach out to Freddie Mac and we can help you with that. But once you have access, you go to freddiemac.com, search up ECO. As I said, click on the menu and it will allow you to log into Eco. And that'll bring you to the screen that we're looking at here. And there's two ways into the report, a couple reports that we're going to talk about. The first way is under Loan Advisor. You come down to Home Possible Opportunities. And then right below that, we show you'd go under the Affordable tab and come down to Home Possible Opportunities. Either way, you can access the reports that I'm going to talk about. Next slide, please. When you come in here, we're going to talk first about the loan delivery view. So we're gonna focus here on loans that were already delivered to us, and they were delivered not as a Home Possible loan, but could have been a Home Possible loan. So they were missed opportunities that we're calling out for you here. Go ahead and go to the next slide, please. Within that missed opportunities, on the right-hand side of the screen, you'll see a date range, and you're able to search back and search a date range for missed opportunities. You're probably going to want to narrow that date range to 30 to 60 days, but you can leave it where it defaults as well and look at all your missed opportunities. But this is a great opportunity to coach and manage folks that may have missed these Home Possible opportunities and left some money on the table. At the top left in the little green circle there, you'll see that we're looking at the delivery view, top left green square, excuse me. This is our delivery view that we're looking at. So these would be loans that weren't delivered to us as Home Possible that could have. And then we give you some numbers across the top there in a summary of missed opportunities. It looks like 38 in this one here. I want to focus though on the bottom, very bottom there, and the blue link to the far right at the very bottom. And that's our right there. Thank you. So that's our total delivered loans XLS export. And when you export those loans, it's going to give you the ability to pull up the report of all those opportunities. Now, because the report shows specific information for each lender, we typically do this with an individual lender. So I'm not pulling up a report right now that's going to disclose another lender's information. But I am going to speak to the headers in the report and a couple key headers that I want to call out here that will show in the report. One of those headers is the HP category. So it'll show you whether it was delivered as an HP loan or not. The other loan is the other category is AUS type. So it'll show if it was run as an LPA. And remember, we need it run as an LPA. So we'll look for opportunities there. And then it'll have a first-time homebuyer indicator for you there. So couple key headers that you'll want to look for in that missed opportunity report. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, so I'm just highlighting here a little bit easier to see the summary of the Home Possible loans that were delivered and the missed opportunities, 38 loans. And then we give you the total fees paid and the average fee per loan. So there's a business case for you right there to utilize this report and to look for more opportunities. Let's go to the next slide. The other view, and this is the one that I find very helpful, as we call it. And within the pipeline view, again, the green box at the top left of the screen says pipeline view. And to the right where we see 30 days, we're recommending that you search back 30 days into the pipeline. But these are loans that have been run through LPA that are in your pipeline, and they're a Home Possible opportunity that you could take.
Lori, did Rich freeze?
Yeah, looks like he dropped.
Sorry.
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
Yeah, we had 2 feet of snow, but that's done here. So we once you export that file, the key headers that I would hone in on would be your LTV header. A lot of times LOs miss opportunities because they see a low LTV and they fail to recognize that still could be delivered as a Home Possible opportunity. Just because the LTV is low doesn't mean it can't be delivered. And then the AMI header, which is, going to help you identify those VLIP loans, less than 50% AMI, get that $2,500 that Jim talked about, that's stackable with other things. And then Lori will talk about that. And then the risk class, we're looking for an accept out of LPA in terms of the risk class. And once again, we have the first time home buyer indicator in there as that header. Go ahead. Next slide. Okay, Jim, that's everything I wanted to hit on here. I've already covered the items on here. Jim's going to pick up slide 34.
Okay. Yeah, got it. Thanks, Rich. Okay, so Rich just gave a fantastic summary of all the different functionality, and then I'll just kind of drill into where if you want to take a closer look or really drill into a certain subsets of those opportunities that you have from an origination perspective and ensure that you're making the most of all of your home possible opportunities where applicable, you have the ability to drill in, as Rich just said, your LTV, right? So I highlighted there in underneath the 109 qualified but not submitted, so as Jim Hall referenced, credit fees and price are capped at 0 for Home Possible. So no borrowers in Home Possible pay any credit fees and price, but that additional benefit of the reduced MI for those LTVs greater than 90, you can then highlight or drill into the subset of loans, as you see there in the red box, how many loans you have that are Home Possible eligible and they're also greater than 90 LTV, because again, that could provide or present additional savings for your borrower. That could help from a payment perspective, putting them in something that is more affordable for them, or even potentially help in a competitive situation if your payment is going to be lower than the competitor by utilizing Home Possible if they're not. So definitely something to take in consideration. A lot of different functionality within this report to help you drill into the loans that really you want to address and that can maximize those opportunities to provide your borrowers with as many affordable opportunities as possible. So next slide, Lori, please. So we also have a first-time homebuyer indicator. So you see there on the right side of the screen in the green box, I marked it no, right? So as you know, and again, reiterate Jim Hall, first-time homebuyers less than or equal to 100% of the area median income, they are eligible for your credit fees and price, just like Home Possible. So these loans, they're all that populate here are Home Possible opportunities. So they're all less than 80% area median income. So by definition, they will qualify for that first-time homebuyer. So I look at the no's because these are loans that are not getting a credit fee cap from the first-time homebuyer opportunity. So this is real opportunity to provide them with a potentially more attractive and competitive price by utilizing Home Possible and the credit fee caps associated. And then again, you can look at your different LTV buckets. So you see there in the red box, in the smaller red box, you had 11 loans that number one would benefit from credit fee caps as a result of using Home Possible, and then also would benefit from the reduced MI because their LTV is greater than 90. So it's kind of a double dipping on of benefits on that particular scenario. So a lot of great information that you can kind of drill into to get to those loans that would reap the most benefit from utilizing Home Possible if they weren't already selected or submitted as Home Possible by that particular loan officer. So great information here. Next slide, Lori. And then lastly, over there on the right where I showed you that first-time homebuyer indicator, there are a couple other filters that you can utilize, right? So we already looked at your first-time homebuyer indicator. You can filter by loan purpose. So if you only want to look at your purchase loans, you can filter out by that. You can look at your caution loans. So which is, you would say, well, why would I look at those? Well, they are opportunities, whether you know it or not. Some may be great opportunities, right? So if you look at those caution loans, and then that top filter, your cash flow or rent opportunity. So that means, if you have a caution loan, we have the opportunity to expand access to credit for those, who LPA deems are an opportunity for it. And you could see a message that says this loan may benefit from cash flow opportunity, which you would just need to resubmit that loan with an asset report from one of our approved third-party providers to see if it is beneficial. So again, really trying to point out as many potential opportunities for you to utilize different products we offer and try to get as many borrowers approved as possible. We know the market's tough out there. So every opportunity is a good opportunity, and we want to help you make the most out of all of those, to originate as many loans as you can, grow your business, and provide your borrowers with the most competitive and affordable offering as possible. The last thing I want to highlight there is we can filter by state as well. So if you are a regional manager or a loan officer manager who has loan officers in multiple states or branches, you can see kind of who's submitting loans with Home Possible or not, right? So drill down there to be a little bit more specific. So I believe that's my last slide, Lori, and I am turning it over to you.
Yes, thank you. So as we have all heard, there are Home Possible, Home One, really wonderful tools. Home Possible for that low income borrower, where the qualifying income, not household income, but qualifying income is at or below 80% of area median income. But even with products, we have a challenge with the housing stock. And unfortunately, that is nationwide. We've got borrowers that are ready to purchase, but there's nothing affordable for them to move in. We have a solution for that too. And I just realized I did not introduce myself. I'm Lori Keasel. I'm on the Affordable Lending Sales Solutions team. And really, I work with our lenders to understand where the markets are, where the challenges are, and try to find different products and initiatives to put together to make the transaction work. And Choice Renovation is one of those products. So you've got the borrowers, they are ready to go, they know the location, the area that they want to buy in, and there's nothing in their price range. But if they look at properties that maybe need a little bit of love or a lot of love, and use a renovation product, they could get into a home. So Choice Renovation is one of those products. The full renovation available on 1 to 4 unit primary residence, 1 unit second homes, and 1 unit investment properties. Also manufactured housing. Choice Renovation is another low down payment option. 3% down is allowed. And really, what your borrower is going to look at is not the current condition of the property, but what it could be and how they could make that house their home. And what you have to offer is Choice Renovation, which allows that one close to purchase the property and set up a renovation account up to 75% of the as completed value. So your borrower is going to get bids for the work that they want to do. The nice part is they put their offer in, they have a purchase agreement, they know that they want to upgrade the kitchen and the bathrooms, they know they don't need all the bling, but they want a little more than just the basics. So they get bids from contractors to get kind of that middle of the road upgrade. That means we know that they want to paint the walls and replace the cabinets, but they don't have to pick the color of the paint or the colors of the cabinets. They just need to know basic information to get that bid. The appraiser will use those bids and say, based on this location and these improvements, this is what, with all of the improvements completed, this would be the appraised value of this property, the as completed appraisal. What's nice about Choice Renovation is we are not prescriptive. So picture's worth 1,000 words. Choice Renovation is not going to be used for a full tear down. But if you've got a property that needs to go down to the studs in the whole house or just parts of the house, Choice Renovation could be a really great option. Again, we're not prescriptive on the types of renovations, just that they add value to the property. And a nice part is that renovation account that is opened at the closing table. So again, one close, purchase the property, set up the renovation account. Those renovation funds can be used for materials and labor, and any inspection fees, any building costs, and for example, this picture, that borrower may not want to live in a construction zone. And so up to 6 months of the mortgage payment can be taken out of that escrow account. So you've got a lot of flexibility there. Well, let's say you've got a borrower who has found the right location, found the right basics, but it just needs a little bit of love. Well, we have Choice Reno Express. So unlike full choice renovation, which allows 15 months for the renovations to be completed, Choice Reno Express could be a little smaller scope. Again, it's going to cover the one close, purchase the property, set up a renovation account that will renovate up to 10% of that as completed value. So maybe it's just the flooring or painting the whole house, or maybe the house is fine, but the landscaping needs a little love. That all can be covered by Choice Reno Express. Now, the other really nice part about Choice Renovation, Choice Reno Express, is you can, remember what I talked about in this new market of ours, we sometimes need to combine some different products. Well, you can combine Choice Renovation, Choice Reno Express, and Home Possible. So now you've got a borrower whose qualifying income is at or below 80% of AMI. They found a property that needs a little or a lot of love. They can still also benefit from, so they can benefit from all the renovations, and they can still benefit from the features of Home Possible, including that lower MI coverage. So see, adding all of these different bits and pieces really make for a strong transaction for your borrowers. Let's say you've got a borrower who is ready, right location, right basic footprint, and mechanically, structurally, cosmetically, it looks fine, but they're really interested in or concerned about their utility bills. And they're interested in maximizing their energy and water efficiencies. Well, we've got Green Choice for that. And again, Green Choice, it works a lot like the Choice Reno Express, where you purchase the property, set up an improvement account. That improvement account will be up to 15% of the as completed value. Then another nice bonus with Green Choice is if the improvements do not exceed $6,500, then there's no need for an energy report. Anything above $6,500, we do want an energy report, the before and after, to show that those improvements did improve either energy or water efficiencies. Regardless of whether the Green Choice loan needs an energy report, when you deliver that loan to Freddie Mac, there will be a $500 credit back to you. So you may pass that on to the borrower. Its original intent was to offset that energy report, but really whatever is going to make that transaction work for your borrower and for you, that's what we want you to do with that $500. And this is just a list of, we're a little more prescriptive with Green Choice because we do want to make sure that those improvements are going to improve energy or water efficiencies. Otherwise, you can use Choice Renovation or Choice Reno Express. But those improvements, again, we're not terribly prescriptive. So they can be solar panels, or it can be insulating the house, or something as basic as weather stripping and caulking the windows. So you can see from this list, there is a wide variety of energy and water efficiencies that can be added to the home. Again, anything to make this home, this property, feel like your borrower's home. It helps them in making that monthly mortgage payment. Now, we talked about renovation, we talked about green energy and water efficiencies, but one hot topic, especially in New York and New Jersey, is accessory dwelling units. And I say New York and New Jersey because there in the 80s, there were a number of properties built. We used to call them mother-daughter houses or in-law suites. And they were built in the 80s and 90s, so they've got a little age on them. We do have underwriting. We expanded our underwriting about 18 months ago around accessory dwelling units. I have to say in the last 12 months, towns and municipalities, zoning boards are kind of getting on board with having an accessory dwelling unit. So I think the time has finally come. We've got families who have older family members that need to move in with them, or younger family members that can't afford to rent or own yet. So, or just someone who wants to have a little additional rental income. So again, we expanded our guide in June of 2022. An ADU can be attached, an accessory dwelling unit can be attached to a 1, 2, or 3 unit property. It does still need to meet local zoning laws, but again, those zoning boards are getting a little more flexible. And honestly, I've got a couple of lenders that are taking our selling guide to the zoning board to help the zoning board understand how changing regulations will help create financing options in their community. And rental income can be used in the underwriting of the property. You can use, so an accessory dwelling unit can be attached or detached. It can be existing or newly added. So that choice renovation, the full choice renovation scope, can include adding an additional room or a whole accessory dwelling unit. And again, it can be attached to the existing property or detached. Maybe someone is buying a property or has a property with a garage and a lot of empty space above that could very easily be built into an accessory dwelling unit. So things that people are considering. Just want to be sure that you've got the products that your borrower needs wherever they may be. And again, an ADU is going to include a kitchen, doesn't need to be a full gourmet kitchen. Kitchenette, it works, a separate entrance, a separate bathroom. It's independent of, it can be attached, but independent of the primary dwelling, and is smaller than the primary dwelling. But what we're starting to see in New York, especially, is borrowers purchasing these mother-daughter in-law or units with in-law suites and living in the in-law suite while they're renovating the main house, or renovating the accessory dwelling unit and renting that out while the main house is being renovated. So there's a lot of flexibility, again, with choice renovation and with accessory dwelling units. So, and one of the key here is that we know that it can be a challenge from an appraisal perspective on finding comps. And so we're really just looking for the appraiser to include at least one comp and rental, if rental income is being used for that property. Again, we're seeing a rise in that. We want to stay on top of things, and this is the third time you're seeing this screen. Jim loves this information, and so do I, because you can take, Jim talked about first-time home buyers and the credit fee cap, Home Possible and the credit fee cap. I've just talked about some duty to serve products, Choice Renovation, Choice Reno Express, Green Choice, all have credit fee caps. if the borrower's qualifying income is up to 100% of area median income, they can enjoy the credit fee cap. And again, if you've got a borrower whose qualifying income is at or below 80% of AMI, be sure to couple it with Home Possible to not only have that credit fee cap, but also enjoy lower MI coverage. And so I know we are almost out of time, so I'm not going through all of the rest of the slides. You will get this deck after the call, but we have some really great resources. Jim talked about 1-800-FREDDIE. We've got our selling guide online. We've got a subscription center. So instead of you having to go out, if you want us to send you information about what's new at Freddie Mac, what training, what products, what technology, sign up on our subscription center. We also work with real estate agents and trade associations. Jim mentioned at the top of the hour. So AREA, NAREP, NAREB, Alliance, a number of other real estate partners that are critical in our business. We've got resources out on FreddieMac.com to reach out, so you don't have to create content every time you want to reach out on social media or other platforms. Use FreddieMac.com. We've got resources for your real estate partners, so that's a value add you can take back to them. We've got resources for housing professionals, housing counselors in the market. And all of this is out on FreddieMac.com. And I thank you very much for your time. I know Joe and Brian, we are almost out of time, but are there any questions, anything that's come up?
That's okay, Lori. And all of you, thank you so much. I mean, education is a pillar of what we're trying to accomplish here. And when it comes to affordable housing and community investment having the right products to choose from to satisfy situations that come up is another major pillar. And there was a lot in this presentation. And the appetite, I think, for diving deeper has been set up very well. There's a lot here. I would encourage everybody to continue educating yourself about product availability with Freddie. They've been hard at work trying to make our jobs more effective with our borrowers. As far as questions, I'm maybe it's just me. I'm a little slow. It is Friday, but I wanted to dive in just real quick on the eco product or the eco service. Is that post-closing analysis, or is that product selection aid, or a combination of both? I guess
So
maybe
the eco is the self-serve reporting tool that's available to lenders. You can look, what I ran through was you can look at things that have already closed that could have closed differently. So they've been delivered and they could have been delivered as a Home Possible. And then I went through things that were in pipeline. So you can get either there.
So
There are other,
both.
there's other reports out there on business cases for use of our collateral tools, such as ACE plus PDR, appraisal waiver plus property data report. There's tools out there on affordable numbers for you as a lender. So it's a self-serve reporting tool that has just a gamut of information available for you.
Phenomenal. Excellent. Any other questions from the panel? I didn't see anything in the chat or the Q&A.
Brian, I was just going to say, if you have more questions about Home Possible or Home One or all of the great technology we have in Loan Product Advisor or any other products like Choice Renovation, please reach out to your account teams. We would love to do a deeper dive and make sure that you've got everything you need, as Brian said, to reach out into this new challenging market of ours.
Lori, there was a question came up about the cash flow report that goes into eco on March 22nd, and it will show you your availability that if you provide an asset report for a caution loan, it could potentially flip that caution with us to an accept. So just another way to get more loans in a tough loan environment. And that report will be out there in eco on the 22nd, right below the Home Possible report that I just went through.
Excellent. Thank you.
Outstanding. And with that, it is 1:01.
Thank you.
And I wish everybody a happy Affordable Friday and a happy St. Patrick's Day over the weekend. Be safe, celebrate, and we'll see you on the next one.